Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street
So
geek
much.
and nerd. So what is up, my people? Today, yeah, we got an episode of Loungin with the wonderful, awesome.
Hey, what's up? Marqueeda LaStar here, giving you all the word from the street, because I keep my ear close to it,
Yo, word on the street. Look, guys, we're gonna have a good time today. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody in the chat that's already there, make sure you share this out to your folks. Hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs down. But if you hit that thumbs down, I'm gonna send the GOP on you. That's all I'm saying. Send it right to your dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna send some interns to snatch your microphones. That's all I'm saying. So, with that said, we got a little news, but I want to start back a little bit.
Okay.
Because we got some new stuff, we got some older stuff. I want to talk about Marston Riley.
Ah, yeah, that was further back. Yeah.
Marston Riley is a little bit further back. He's a teacher from LAUSD. You probably have seen the video by now. If not, he is a teacher, I believe a music teacher. And he's in class, and the video shows one child come up to him. He's a little kid. Well, not a little kid. He's in high school, but he's kind of bony. But, dude comes up to him. He's cursing at him, yelling at him, throws his basketball at him, all kinds of stuff. Marston Riley, who is a teacher, Mr. Riley's just kind of chilling, kind of trying to chill, trying to be cool,
trying to maintain,
trying to hold his peace.
You're right. Like I'm gonna need you to leave the classroom. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
Oh.
But the rules of the street, I guess.
The rules from the street. You know what happened?
The rules of the street.
Marston Riley. This is what happened when old boy. It's kind of like that dude on the bus when that girl was like yelling at that bus driver, like in Ohio or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Kadoosh!" No, I am not a fan. I'm not saying just go around hitting women.
Right.
But she was a habitual line stuffer. But back to Marston Riley, he was chilling. But remember, this is an old man. He's 64. So I'm pretty sure this kid probably think, oh, old man can't whoop me. I'm going to let you know, as someone that hung out with old men when I was little, don't sleep with an old man. Right. Now, the old man can't fight as long as you can. Mm-hmm. But that old man can move a lot faster than you think. And this kid found that out. Because
I am once surprised at you, Max. I thought you would be on his side.
Nah, Max always got to be,
always the opposite.
He always got to be opposite.
Always the opposite. I just want to test it.
Max is probably on there like, what about the children?
No, he says he's an emotional coward who acted before thinking, and the student drew a B-ball enveloped in racial slur. Okay. Well, we'll see how you take those punches, Max.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that.
He went on to, he says, it says chances. Why is my thing so small?
Like, yo, Max, a wise old man told me, once you jump up in a man's face, you have now changed. You have now gone into another realm.
Charge a student with a hate crime based off of whatever that word is. My brain is not completely on right now. Oh my goodness, egregious assault and battery. Come on, dude.
You know what, Max? Yeah, let's talk about assault. That kid assaulted him originally.
Any support for his government are components of black victim mentality. Sticks and stones. Man.
Max, ain't nobody trying to hear that. Ooh. Max is just in here trying to be contrarian for the sake of doing it. The second that kid threw that basketball at him, it became assault. Straight up. If this was any other
self-defense, I don't care. I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, I get that he's technically a kid.
Yeah.
He's a high schooler, so physically they're bigger. They're strong enough where they might not be as strong as you, and he's an older man. He's not like you're talking about. This is like guy who's
his teacher ain't The Rock.
And exactly. And so all he did was defend himself. He didn't continue to go into this kid once the kid was out. He was like, I just need to defend myself, and I do not like the idea that you have to be a victim for your for the situation to be seen in the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pretty much to me almost playing up to respectability politics. Like, well, if you would just sat there and just took,
if you would have just let this kid
took that assault,
throw a basketball
and did all that,
and throw whatever else
on your side. I think black people, as black people, we've been dealing with that forever and a day.
We done with that.
We real done with that.
Look, we done laid down. We done marched. We done picketed. We done sat in. We done with that.
I'm not here for being a victim, knowing that 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to get the justice I'm seeking from our corrupt system that needs to be reformed or rebuilt. I just don't agree with your take on this, Max.
Max is just being in the comments. Hello, Max. Now we've given him his time.
Right. But I mean, he came out strong. I was like,
yeah, Max was holding that. He couldn't wait. Max was holding this probably like a day.
How did he know where we was going though?
He was waiting. He was holding that in.
You know what? I feel like he types two things.
Yeah.
Depending on which
way. He be having them ready, and then he just copy and paste it in.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, if they for it, I'm gonna type this.
Yeah.
If they against it, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. That's how Max be doing, man. We know how you get down. We know how you do. Right. But
okay, so Chris Smith said my man handed out a hall pass for a 2-piece right.
Yo, man.
Okay, so 2 pieces of biscuit. I got introduced to this terminology while watching Widows.
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so I went to an advanced screening of it. Fantastic movie. Ooh. Go see it.
Yeah, the trailer looks hot. So
it was real hot. So I was at Fox Theater, Studios.
Ooh.
Just living, doing what I do. And it's a fantastic movie. It's a good heist movie. I got a nice some twists and turns you're not expecting.
Okay.
Like, say what? No. Dang. And you go back and forth liking people and disliking them, which I think is always good orienting because the reasons why you feel one way, like it evokes strong.
Yeah, you're like, you were right then, but you ain't right now.
Right here, right. Yeah. I was like, y'all, you doing too much. But right here you did good. Like, these people are like complicated and but it was a really entertaining film. But anyway, I now know the 2-piece in this.
Get that 2-piece. Right. Yo, the funny thing is, for all that smack that kid talked, notice once the fists start flying, that boy didn't walk forward once. He was talking all that, but we never saw him advance at all. Once the fist started going, all we saw was stepping back.
Yeah,
he didn't want none.
He really didn't.
Well,
we were talking about this. The whole idea is why they're doing this. It's like, okay, they're teens. Yeah, they're pushing the limits.
Yeah,
but at the same time, they're crossing the line, getting in your face because they know the system protects them.
Yeah.
Even when it shouldn't protect them, even when they should be punished for their actions, we give them a lot of space. And I'm not saying that this should be like the end of this life. Like, it's like, to me, it's either we do too much to these individuals,
or we do way too little.
And we need like a just right approach. Like, we really need to get this Goldilocks thing going on, because it's like you either go like you on this, or you throwing him in jail for the rest of his life, and he's like 15. I'm like, why are we doing that? That's terrible.
It's like, kid got some act right.
Yeah.
Now kid need to go home, suspended.
Right.
Teacher ain't do nothing. Teacher fine. Now, if the teacher had a history of beating up kids,
right.
Fine. But as far as we know, there's no history of him beating up kids. So maybe, just maybe, this kid did something a little special to receive that treatment.
Right. And I feel like once hands are laid on them, I should be able to defend myself. And then I'm a professional, so I control myself.
I'm professional, so I know how to
stop. That's not what I meant, but yes, that's it. So my thing is, I should be able to defend myself, and then once the situation's under control, we can continue. Yeah. But the idea, like, because there was this after this happened, video resurfaced, because I think it's not particularly new, because I couldn't find any news really on it, except that was like from 2015. So the new clip came up, and it was a teacher, and supposedly she had just come back from surgery from cancer, and she had this like wilding student that she was asking to leave the class, and the student got mad, and so the student clocked her.
Wow.
and went to walk out. And I said, that's my thing. You're only clocking people. You're only clocking these teachers because you know at the back of your mind, because all kids are like this, that they can't touch you. Yeah. You test people who can't touch you. I see this all the time. People test people who they already know for whatever reason they don't want to hit you back. Whether it's the consequences, whether they care about you, whether they just don't want to get into the sticky icky that this guy's in now for putting hands on you. Now I gotta get into legal stuff. I could possibly lose stuff. There's a lot of times I stand down personally because I was like,
because it's like you got a lot to lose. That kid really has nothing to lose, and that stuff happens. Because kids like, what does a kid really have to lose? Nothing. He ain't got no job
yet. He goes to a new school, nobody knows him, and he moves on with his life. Well, this teacher now has to struggle and climb out of a hole that kid put him in.
He'll probably have to like move from California to be a teacher somewhere else.
Right.
And, what I'm saying?
And I just don't think that's right because you're not protecting the teachers. And I'm sorry, parents are not coming in like they should.
Nope.
Your kid should know that if he were to do that, he gonna get the butt whooping of a lifetime at home.
Speaking of that, they had the parents outside like getting the word on the street from the parents, and there were some parents that were like, "Yo, man, that kid should have went to class and sat down and learned the lesson or whatever." And then there was this one lady that was like, "You should never do this, and kids shouldn't." I was like, "You ain't never taught no kids.
You haven't taught kids.
She's taught. I've taught.
Yeah."
Anyone out there who's been a teacher, especially in certain areas, it's not all of them. It's one. It's that one that you like, boy.
Like more well-to-do kids, and it's no better. I was like, I'm going to. I would take that part out.
The well-to-do kids,
kids got their own issues.
Well, the ones that I've seen were more whiny, pouty. Like, I'm going to sit in the middle of the floor and I'm not going to move. And I'm like,
well, they'll threaten you. They'll threaten you if it's not physical violence. What I got when I was working at a private school was that whole I have my parents come in and talk to and I'll have your job.
Oh,
they very much like, oh no, I will have your job. You're nobody. You like work for me. Like I was like, really? I was like, well, okay.
Well, now I will say, Lisa has got that before.
Right.
That kind of attitude where it's like, my mom will come here. It's like.
Right. Okay. Right.
Matter of fact, I have a personal story before we move on. I told you there was a kid in the area we live in. I ain't gonna say no name. I ain't gonna say what program. But he was like, I'm gonna have my brother come up here, and I told him as nicely as I could. Said, you can tell him come up here, but you better be ready. That's all I'm saying. Don't let the teacher fool you. And that's what Marston said. I've been cool. I'm an older man. I've been trying to be nice, but we in November now, and you've been doing this mess every day. So now apparently you need another lesson, and he provided that lesson. So a golf clap for Marston Riley.
Right.
Unfortunately, homie's gonna have to go through the whole legal process.
His GoFundMe has got
but
like
it's GoFundMe,
149,000.
Yeah. So he's probably going to be okay with the GoFundMe, but that GoFundMe is probably going to be needed for legal fees to try to get the money he's deserved. And what my thing
is, I'm trying to find out if the teen was arrested because he laid hands first.
Yeah, probably not. And he probably got suspended or something.
That's my issue. When two people fight,
if
it was two teens, both of them would be sent and both of them would be punished.
Yep.
But just because it's a student who who initiate this fight, all of a sudden you throttle down on what you're going to do to that student and stuff like that. And I know lawsuits is probably what the school is worried about.
Yeah, but I will say this. Wrong. I know one thing. That kid is getting clowned. That kid is getting clowned at least for the rest of this year. Because kids going to be like, you want me to go get Mr. Riley though? Need me to get Mr. Riley? Like kids don't let that
happen. Yeah, because they like arrested him. They're thinking that the parents are probably going to press charges, which I think is whack. I think it's whack.
Your kid don't know how to act.
Right.
And now you found a way you think you're going to get some money.
Right.
So you want to press charges and all that. that's they whack. But
yeah.
Next up, we had some shakeups in the digital media space.
Yeah.
This week has been a interesting week where everybody has had some very basic questions about Defy Media. We got a message from Defy saying, hey, we're closing our doors. We're dissolving the company. We're done. And we had a good run. We did great content, but it wasn't managed well or something, and now we got to go. And you can find it on Deadline or THR, the Hollywood Reporter, or anyone, The Wrap or something like that. I'm sure they're all writing about it. My question is, oh, go ahead.
One person was like, they called Defy evil and shady.
Yeah, Defy. If you're not in the digital media space, or if you're not in LA's particular digital media space, you may not have heard. Defy is known for being less.
Wait. Step back and explain what Defy is.
Oh, sorry. Defy Media is essentially like Viacom for digital media. So it's like a larger parent company that covers like Clever, Smosh Games. There's but a lot of imagine an MCN, which is a multi-channel network that covers a lot of YouTube channels, and they kind of just run them basically. They secure ads for them. They'll promote them. They'll give them access to different different avenues and stuff. Well, that's what they're supposed to do. In this case, it seems like they probably were not. Mm-hmm. but they were huge. They got tons of ad revenue. You're talking about billions of views between all of their channels. I mean, Defy Media is a big deal. They used to have Screen Junkies. I'll get into that in a second. But because they sold them to Fandom because they got in trouble because people have been telling Defy Media about that whole sexual harassment thing with Andy Signore, and they ignored it until it came out publicly. Then they was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do something. We're gonna do something like that today." But but they're closing their doors, and my question is, where's the money?
Right. That's what everybody's asking. Like, where's all this money?
Where's that money? They was getting tons of ad revenue. Plus, they got $70 million of investments just last year. Mm-hmm. $70 million? Yo, look, if somebody, bust this. Invest $70 million in NERDSoul. Best believe we about to shine.
Right.
And we ain't closing our doors. All right. But once again, when you look at the players, that you saw the people that was running, it's like, shady businessman, shady Wall Street dude. They look like all those dudes that was like Wolf of Wall Street. You look at all them type of cats.
I think it's a lot like the sale of Screen Junkies. It's like the shutdown is all about people probably been asking and banging on doors and calling this. What's the main guy's name?
I can't remember the main guy's name.
It's funny how it's not even. It's hard to even find.
Yeah, they've been keeping that on the sneak.
Yeah, they're keeping it.
Who's like at the top?
He Cox.
Yeah, Heathcock or Hitchcock or whatever. But it's
Ion, whatever. Ian.
People want to know where the money is.
Ian, there it is. Ian. Yeah. And I was struggling with that name because it's not spelled the way you say it.
Yeah, but people want to know where that money is.
Right. And this is not like they've been like asking this question all of a sudden. It's been going on and on and on. And it seems like their response to any kind of heat or it's like, hey, I need to see the books. It's like, you know what, we're resigning. And I almost get it because we live in a society that this is normal. Think about every time you're a politician or somebody in a city
I'm going to just resign.
Gets called out for money's not being accounted for. They just get to step to the side and resign. And it's supposed to be okay.
Yes, I think where's the money though?
Bell was like the first time I had heard of what the scandal that happened in the city of Bell. And I know about Bell because I used to go to school near there. And they laundered like some $800 million.
Jesus.
They were and the way they did it wasn't like launder. It was like everybody's like salaries just ridiculous.
Oh, so they just bumped everybody's salary up
just
crazy.
so ridiculous prices. I was like, what was it? 800 million or wasn't? Yeah, it was something like that.
Or they be writing invoices, be like, yeah, we bought 18 hammers, and you know good and well you bought 5.
The salaries and then the expense accounts. And it was, so it was just out of control.
Because those dudes, all those Defy Media dudes look like expense account kind of dudes.
Right.
You know good and well they all got fly cars, got dope houses. But then, $70 million?
And so,
where that money at?
The co-founder of Smash, what's it called?
Smosh. Yeah.
Whatever. He was saying, I think his last name is Padilla, and he was saying that he was salaried. So he's not got an expense account. He's not got crazy cars. Yeah. And he's like, he knows that what he created, which is Smosh, was generating a lot of money for Defy. And he wasn't seeing the money of that. And he's like, where's my money? You know, we need to pay him some old dirty bitch that have my money.
Yo, it's crazy because he built it and he sold it. But then in his video, and I do feel for him because it's like, now who knows where Smosh is going to end up? Because they're going to sell off their assets.
Yeah, but he said he walked away because the dealings were like terrible. You know, it's like.
But it's like, it's one of those things.
It's like your baby.
If you build something, stop building stuff to sell it so fast.
Yeah. That's,
you know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
Straight.
So many
because I know we live in a world right now, it's like, I want to build something and sell it. And now look at you. Now 5-10 years later, you sitting there looking sad.
We're talking about like where tech is going, and I feel like tech in a way is stalling because everybody's putting all their innovation in building something that's cool enough to catch the big tech giant's eye. And say, hey, don't you want to give me several $1 million for this? And I'm like, how about you build something so these few tech companies don't have a monopoly, but everything's getting bought up by the few tech guys who have already made it. I'm like, that's a bad recipe.
Like, and that's the world we live in now. Like, I want to build, this just so I can sell it to Viacom or Warner Brothers or Google or whoever. Right. And now you got him in a video looking sad, and I do feel for him because, I'm pretty sure when they came to him, and he said when they came to him, like, oh, you're gonna get stock options, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, blah blah, and they never went public.
Yeah, they would have to go public to really cash in on that money. Yeah, it was messed up.
So they reworked them, but stop selling your stuff so fast. Yeah. If it's dope, if they're willing to give you $5 million for it, guess what? It's probably worth 25. Right. So keep it. Stop selling.
Yeah, we definitely need more.
Or at least don't sell off your life's work. Like if you want to make something that means nothing to you, fine, sell that. But don't make something that's like your life's work and then be like, oh, well, I sold it. And then kind of now you got this, seller's remorse kind of thing.
Right. I agree. And I think I would encourage more people to like get out there, be innovative, invest in the future. Like, even if you're not a tech savvy person, find a way to be on the rise with the wave. I feel especially with Black people, we like, despite being the people who like pushes the culture forward, when it comes in to like cash in and be there early, we not there, and then things get on. We make stuff pop. We'll be the thing that takes it mainstream, but we won't benefit in the revenue stream of it.
I'll make it plain since midterms just passed, and we'll get on midterms next. This whole legalized weed thing. Guess who ain't cashing in on it?
Right.
Who made it hot?
If you smoke weed, and you are not trying to get in on this.
Why isn't pretty much every rapper that made it hot, because it was taboo, cashing in on this? Because we don't get to cash in. Why the corner boys can't just go get a business license? Right. Because we don't never get to cash in.
I have to that joint went legal, and the only people crazy expensive, and they're looking at, we're just trying to get as much money out of it, but it becomes a barrier to the people who are most disfranchised by the laws as it were previously. You know, when you look at who's getting picked up for weed violations, it's mostly Black and brown people. Yeah. And then when you look at who's now benefiting on it, it's the opposite, it's the inverse. Yeah, it's very interesting. Because the second they legalized that joint, I was like, it's funny how these stories just popped up. Funny how these stories just popped up. Yeah, but see if someone like me can get a business loan to go sell some weed. Right. But Chad,
Chad got a store. Chad got 2-3 stores.
Right. And I'm just like, it's the same. So we really need to step our game. The game is still new. Weed is still new. Yeah. We always get in that international game. Yeah. Because Canada is out of weed. They legalized it national wide.
Oh, word.
A couple months ago.
Yo, they dry right now. Yo, they dry.
They hella dry. They ain't got no weed in their country. Yo, so you know there's an opportunity there for somebody. It might as well be us. I'm like, look. But that's my thing.
We need to collectivize.
I want to encourage people to invent and go for the long haul. Yeah. Envision yourself being a Google or Microsoft as opposed to selling to those people. Yeah. You know, and stuff like that. I was like, and that's the thing. I said, if we don't start doing that, it eventually become where it gets harder and harder. And it's already hard for us, but it's going to become even harder if we don't go on and say, hey, we need to start investing, inventing, and taking crazy ideas we have. For because that'd be killing us. Like, we're like, nobody's gonna pay for that, and it turns out everybody's gonna pay for that.
Everybody's gonna pay for it. So, like, look, if you have a dope idea, you're working on it, or you already got it, you're already working it. Don't be so quick to sell. What you've made is valuable. People apparently want it because people are showing up. So don't sell so fast because you're gonna be looking like old boy with Smosh, and he's looking back like, dang, I should have sold that joint. Because now they're gonna sell off their assets in something that's sort of mine, you know what I'm saying? I have no control of where it goes. And like all these dudes is just resigning, good and well, don't know where that money is. That money in somebody's pocket.
And nothing's likely to be done. That's the thing. They thought, they resigned, they dissolved the company. Okay. All right.
Well, okay. Bye guys. Have a good one. It's like, take it easy. But with that said, it's a shame that all these people are out of work randomly or, just out of the blue. But I don't know. Maybe this is bad to say, but maybe it's a good thing due to all of the problems that they've created and all of the people that haven't been paid and this, that, and the third. Maybe it's a good thing that Defy is gone. But we'll only see, we won't know until, a year, 2 years from now, what will come up from the ashes of Defy. But it's not a good look for MCNs when someone or something as big as Defy is going down, especially just after getting $70 million and all the ad revenue they get. Like, people someone gonna find out, like the rap or like, THR, they're gonna find out where that money went. They'll find out. You don't get them dudes with the green hats. They're gonna find out where that money went. But next up, go ahead.
No. I was good.
Next up, we got the midterms. Hopefully y'all went and voted. Hopefully y'all went and voted. I hope y'all went and voted.
I got nothing but smoke for people who don't vote.
Y'all ain't vote, man. I hope y'all.
Just so you know, that's not something we can disagree on.
Yeah,
and be cool.
It's like, hopefully y'all voted.
Yeah, because I saw so many examples almost immediately of what voting can do, and I'm not saying it's the end all be all. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it definitely protects everything else you can do. If you're talking about what we need to organize and protest, guess what voting does? Protects your right to do that. It puts people in these seats from judges to city officials to state officials so they know to respect your right to organize and protest. Yep. It really makes a difference, and you're already starting to see it. Like I think the DA flipped for the case where the young man shot by the police officer. Yeah, and now they're going to investigate where they weren't even thinking about investigating the case. That we all were like, this is obviously
this is pretty much a slam dunk, guys.
Done. It wasn't even being investigated. They were sweeping down the rug. You hadn't even heard anything about it anymore. As outrageous as it was, it faded from mainstream media so fast. Yeah. And now there's a new DA because of people voting, and that DA is going to investigate that case. Yes. So that's right there. You can't tell me voting doesn't work. So
there's some good stuff. Now, of course, people were talking about the blue wave. Right. It wasn't really a wave, but the turnout for voting this year,
It's the highest. I think it's for the last 50 years or something like that.
The record count for a midterm. Yeah. This is crazy, which shows that at least people are interested. They're getting involved, and we're starting to see races be a lot closer than they ever would have been, which means things are starting to tip.
Yeah.
Because we got Gillum is doing a recount.
Yes.
The young lady, oh man, in Georgia, she's doing a recount.
Oh, Stacey Albaron.
Stacey, yeah, thank you. I was like, I know her name, but she just looks like your aunt. You know what I'm saying? You look like auntie in the house.
She so looks like somebody I'm related to.
Yo, it's like she look like auntie. So it's like, yo, she dope. And they're doing recounts because those are things that are extremely close.
Right.
And we don't want to take no chances, especially how Georgia went down.
Yeah, exactly.
Georgia went down.
Now, it was so much blatant.
It's like you're looking at it. It's three stations. And it's like 1,000 people out here.
Our voter rolls. We are shutting down polling places.
Yeah.
We are turning people away.
Yeah.
We're rejecting their ballots when they're getting and by the thousands. Yeah. By the thousands. And then you go around and turn around, and he had the audacity today. Kemp released a statement saying, that her unwillingness to concede is a disgrace to democracy. No, your ass oppressing votes.
I love how people always talk about disgrace.
I was like, you're cheating, and then he gonna step down from Secretary of State, which in Georgia, I don't know if this is true of all states, but particularly in Georgia, Secretary of State is over how voting goes out.
Yeah.
All the policies, what polls get on, what's happening with the voter roll and all that, that's all under his control. And he did everything in his power.
And nobody stopped to say, maybe these jobs, maybe you shouldn't be able to have
he should have stepped down the minute he ran for governor, so there would be no asterisk, there would be no question.
Also, he should have been forced to step down.
He really
because it shouldn't be allowed.
It's such a conflict.
It's
and
like,
then you're going to sit here and talk about a disgrace to democracy. No, you cheating and being so blatant about it was a disgrace. And the fact that you thought to fix your mouth to say something like that after all this evidence, and so the judge came in.
The videos that showed that there was 3 stations, and it panned the line. I was like, dude, they know they wrong.
Yeah, they wrong.
Because what they're trying to do is tire you out and make you give up.
Right.
And it's like I'm glad that most people stayed. I think most people stayed. People voted, but we gotta finish counting these votes. We gotta count them all. Everyone that got mailed in, provisional, everything. I want everything counted.
Right. Exactly.
Because I don't trust this dude, especially when. How can you be like the person that does the I guess the competition and the person who judges it? You can't do that.
Well, you oversee elections as Secretary of State.
Yeah, it's
how are you the person
able to be in the contest and be the judge?
And be the judge, be the person who's running it. Not the judge, but be the person who's running it.
Well, running
the coordinator, who's the top coordinator, who makes all the decisions of how the election is going to proceed, what more or less is going to be counted, where you're going to have polls. It's such a conflict of interest. And he took full advantage, and he's so blatant. It's like the evidence is just everywhere.
Yeah, it's a slam dunk.
And it's like, so the idea that you would fix your mouth to say anything about being disgraceful and democracy in the same sentence, and it's not referring to yourself, but someone else? No, absolutely not.
Everybody trying to hear
So what it turns out is that they have, I think, 10 days from the election. The state will certify, wherever it is, it will certify the results. Okay. So she's working against time to get these votes counted while she's fighting Kemp about this, because he's close to forcing she's close to forcing a runoff, which would be almost like a new mini election, and stuff like that, because she's trying to get all these votes. She's trying to get everybody who was pushed away, turned away, to go back and do it. And so it's really close. They're like, oh, it's impossible for him. He needs to be below 50. So if it's 49.9, it's below 50 runoff.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So, and he's already at 50 point something.
Yeah.
So I was like to say it's impossible. No, it's actually no,
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible if you count everything. So it's a real mess in Georgia. Georgia is kind of like the ground zero of voter suppression in full effect. I'm not going to be ashamed, but you also got other
and governmental corruption,
right?
Because you shouldn't be able, like we were just saying, be in the contest and run the competition,
right? Exactly.
Like that's that's ground zero and it's hot. I did want to touch on Nancy Pelosi and her weak sauce speech / statement. Nancy Pelosi's statement on Tuesday night is almost the perfect kernel of what is the problem with the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. She's like, now we know what everyone was running on. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and it's wrong. So come out and vote so we can stop these people, so we can fight against this, so we can push them back, so we can get them out of office and fix things and treat people right. That's what was run on. Now you get some people, you get some houses, you're in control of the house, you're like, we're going to be bipartisan. We're not going to be mean to anybody. And we're just going to, work on with everybody.
That was my fear. Because that was what I
Stop being soft.
Exactly.
And not saying that you have to run through and bogart and dash everybody.
You don't have to. Really. Okay. Don't bring that dude into this.
If Dame Dash was in politics,
a hot mess. That's what that would be. But that's my thing. It's like they ran on this, vote for us. We're gonna take that energy. We're gonna take that power.
And we're gonna
run it, and we're gonna fight. We're gonna resist. And then they got some, and they're already backpedaling, which I am not surprised.
And I'll say this:
I'm not surprised. I was like, Democrats to me, especially the old ones, are like the party of like, I want to keep my seat.
Yeah.
I want to rock the boat.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this. Yeah. I'm going to say this to any Democratic, because Nancy Pelosi watches the show. You know what I'm saying? They all watch the show. I'm going to say this. If y'all don't change nothing, y'all can wrap it up. Because it's going to be over for y'all.
Right.
And I mean all y'all old, like Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, all the old Democrats, it's going to be over for y'all. Well, because y'all talked all this mess. Yeah. If y'all get in here and y'all don't do nothing, we don't see no new laws, no new measures, new regulations. So at least see y'all trying. If y'all come up in here with this whole, we're gonna be good, we're gonna try to get along with everybody.
I wouldn't drag Maxine Waters because she's the opposite of Nancy. She's like the opposite.
But she was also in the DNC chain of emails that was like, it's Hillary's turn. So it's like, old girl, I got love for Maxine, but you was there.
She's more complicated than
she
Nancy.
was there.
Nancy just saw. Because,
yeah.
I mean, like Maxine Waters gets in front of it and says, no, we have to do this. She's saying impeachment. She's saying like we need to get this guy out of here. And she fired up her base saying we need to, remember when she was like saying, no, we need to push back against people who are pushing against us. And then they said she was inciting violence. And stuff like that. So Maxine Waters, while it is not cool that you were like, it's Hillary's turn. It's so not cool. But at the same time, she is doing the work. So I said, I mean, I would love.
I just don't want them to be soft now.
No soft.
It already looks like they're trying to be soft.
Get to this point where we have like this direction we're moving in, and we're working towards a goal, and it can't the destination is important. But we really got to focus on the process because we have to continue to build. We can't. If you were expecting a blue wave, because I think we had a blue wave. Yeah. I just was not expecting it to flip every seat that was open. I have realistic expectations for that. If you're thinking we're going to fix a problem or change things overnight, you're going to be disillusioned.
Yeah.
You're just going to be disappointed at all times, and that's going to give you the weak sauce excuse not to vote and then you're trash to me. So, get that together and get that out your head that decades of, low voter turnout and neglect and already built on a very bad situation here of inequality, whether you're black, you're a woman, you're from a different religion or different country, immigrant. We've always had these problems, and they need to be addressed. And every time we get close to addressing them, we slide back. So I said, at this point, we're we're ramping up again. Don't slide back just because it's not exactly what you envisioned.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta
because it's like that thing with that when you were talking about laws where it's like if a law doesn't do 100% everything,
right,
people be like, let's throw it out.
This is working. Like, what about tweaking that law as problems? You can't sit down and write a law and it's going to predict everything that is going to that's going to happen in that region, in that state. If it's a federal law in that country, even for the next year or two, something could happen that same year and change the game, and then you need to go. What you need to do? Not toss the law out, or you could toss the law out after you've already evaluated to see, okay, this is not going to address what has changed, or the law is 75% solid. Let's tweak these things that don't work. It'll be, every time a law gets passed, it's just as is. Or if it doesn't work, we toss it. I'm like, well, let's build on it. Can we take that law out and then propose a law that addresses all the issues that the last law wasn't addressing? What about versions of these laws? Like I feel like
law A.2.
Yeah, I have such a problem of people like taking their ideology and trying to make the world bend to their ideology, as opposed to us just getting like, what's the world like? We're complex. We're complicated. We're stupid. We're great. we have all this stuff going on for us. Can we just address what the reality of and not necessarily? But we got like lots of.
Oh snap! Lollipapa's in the house. What up, Lollipapa? Chris Smith in the house. Max C. Chris Smith. The old Dems need to step aside and let progressive Dems take over.
Yeah, I'm here for progressive Dems.
Yeah, your girl Cortez.
Yeah,
Cortez, when she brought up not having any money until January, I think that's something that I've never thought about, and it is true. That makes it cost prohibitive for working people to become involved in civic engagement.
Yeah. And that's all she was saying, by the way.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do with 3 months with no money?
Journalists, like I'm like, you realize the reason why? Because there's like this voice or opinion where she's up here asking for a handout or pity.
No,
and that's not what she said. That's not what she followed up with. She was like, look, this is my situation.
Yeah,
and she used it to underline an issue of why don't more people get involved in politics if they don't like what we're doing? Why it's being left to people who fail over and over again is because there's so much money in politics now. And
that a regular person, like if I got up today and was like, you know what, I want to run for city council. I don't know.
Right.
You have to have tons of money. If you're just a regular person, going to work, you don't have money.
You can't run a job and run for an office, especially an office like hers, where it's like she's part of Congress now.
Yeah.
If you're going,
you can't just have a regular job. You can't be like, oh, let me take off for a Tuesday.
And people might see you at your job because she was a waitress, which I think is great. I think it's great that a waitress wanted to both educate herself on the issues, because when Miss Cortez speaks, you can hear the intelligence. You can hear that she just did her homework.
Yeah.
So it's not the same as somebody just like getting up and saying, I'm going to run and I know nothing about nothing.
Well, I mean, you can do that now.
You can do that. I mean, that was the biggest critique about Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
Is that when it came to anything, she didn't seem to know anything. And she had been the governor.
Remember, she could see Russia from her backyard.
Right. She'd been governor of state for I don't know how long before they actually made her McCain's running candidate. So I was like,
Palin. Oh boy.
Man. But it's great to hear. I don't know why people are bashing people with like intelligence and like know how to speak.
Well, see, there's been this thing over maybe like the past decade about like, the elites, the intellectuals, it's something bad about being well read. Like it's weird. But yeah, like Cortez, you got the young ladies in Houston. There's a bunch of dope stuff that came out of this week that we need to celebrate. I want to
read this because I feel this is so important. So Chris Smith was saying Black Americans need to be more strategic with our voting and not vote blindly and take advantage of the power we hold to change things in our state and local elections. Gillum Bento 2020 And I was like, this is exactly what I say.
Wow. Because I'm actually not really mad at it.
No, I love this. This is exactly what I'm getting at. This is what I tell people all the time. Like, we're blind. One, we don't educate ourselves. Sometimes I went to my polling place and they're like, oh, you look like you know what you're doing. I said, yeah, it took a while, but I got through all the propositions. She's like, we can't say anything, do something. Can you help some people? Like, they actually asked me to help people, and I was like, cool. If somebody like needing questions, I mean, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible and tell you what the propositions do.
Yeah, I will say the people that volunteer at the polls sometimes are they're not.
Well, that's not even what I'm getting at. They can't. They cannot tell you.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh.
They're not allowed to do that.
Then what are they supposed to do?
They're supposed to run,
shuffle the line?
Yeah. They're supposed to just run. Yeah. They can't be up there, like, giving their...
Well, I mean, they can't even educate you about the... Like,
I don't think so. Because it seems like
it
could come off biased.
Because it could come off biased.
Yeah, and they're like they're at the voting poll telling you how to vote.
It's not a good look. Yeah,
it's not a good look. So they're like, and they really respected the policy, but they were like, we can't, you can. And I was like, yeah, somebody's got some questions. I'm not going to, I almost feel like what would need to happen, because you can't have polling people do it. I can understand why.
Yeah, because it makes it, because polling people, it gets weird. It gets muddy.
Biased. They're being paid by the city to be there. They should be neutral. And everybody's feelings are going to get in there. What I think should happen, though, and I was...
Because there are people that are like, I'm voting. This might be my first or my second time voting. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I do want to be involved.
I was like, I've been voting since I was 18. Yeah. And it doesn't mean necessarily like when that voter pamphlet comes, what's on, like, where did this come from? What's this about? And
they give it to you for a reason.
Like Proposition 8. Like sometimes when they say it, though, it's a lot of legal jargon.
Yeah.
They do not make it.
Or they'll make the statement from the negative to try to make you say no instead of saying yes.
So I read that book and I was like, this is not helping. Like, especially with Proposition 8. It took me a minute to wrap my mind around.
And which one was 8?
Proposition 8 was with the dialysis centers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They voted yes. What they were going to do is force the companies that ran those centers to improve the quality of those centers and hire more staff.
Yeah.
The formula was a little funky and weird, but that was more or less what they're doing.
Yeah.
If you voted no, they didn't have to do anything and they could keep running.
Yeah.
What people didn't know is that it had actually been started by a labor union, more almost like a workers' rights type of thing, because a lot of technicians were complaining about how overworked they are. They have way too many people they have to see to, which is dangerous.
Yeah. And then, that's why you had that whole thing of, well, if you vote yes, people are going to have to shut down the set. They ain't shutting down.
They make so much money. And so when I was reading about it, it had a formula that at first I was struggling with a little bit. And then I also talked to people who are in that situation, and they're like, look, I've got kidney issues. Please vote yes.
And like Lisa, her father had kidney issues.
You're right.
So it's like, I know about the whole like
right. Like, last thing you want to go to a place that's like dirty, it's not being kept up, but you're filtering my blood that has to go back in my body. Okay. All right. And the technician that's supposed to be like looking over and monitoring all this stuff to make sure it's going right. He's got like 12, like 3 other people. No, it was like
no. I mean, I was about to say 3 other jobs.
Exactly. And he's like super busy, and so you hiring enough staff. And this is a problem across the board in every industry. Like the idea that what you trying, like, I get that as a business, but you're trying to get by. It's not. It goes beyond to just running a business. It's greed. Because like eventually, if you're making enough money and your business is booming like that, you need to readjust your prices or something.
Yes,
but you need to have enough people.
It's a difference between being over, like we're not saying be like just extravagant and have like 80 people when you need 50. But if you need 50, don't hire 30. That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
If you need 50 people, hire 50 people. Don't hire 30 and be like, well, I'm gonna just squeeze every ounce of sweat and pressure them not to take breaks and all kinds of mess.
So it's like you're overworking them where they'll miss something.
Yeah.
And then you
scare them to not take time off.
Exactly. And then they're exhausted and their productivity goes. In a situation like this, accidents might occur. if you have overworked people, and just the number game wasn't working. Like, it's like, if he's like, I was reading the story about like one technician that had 12 patients he had to tend to. Like, can he really keep up with those many patients and be effective and make sure to catch everything so they go home and, you know, they're okay? Like, that's what you're doing. So at first I was like, no, because I was like, I didn't understand the formula. And I was like, I get what they're trying to do, but I want to be better. And then I forgot that laws don't work like that. They either pass the law or they don't pass the law.
And then they never bring it up again.
And they never bring it up again, which is a huge problem.
Like that GMO label joint.
We like legislatively, our mentality and our approach to creating laws in this country needs to change, because the idea that you can just write a law and it's going to be perfect from the get-go, and everybody wants to like shit on laws because they're like, well, this happened and that happened. I'm like, okay, go back.
Yeah, it's like,
fix the law.
Just fix
it.
Take this one. Find this, you know, one security. Perfect example. Back to computers. Patch that security hole. So patch that part of the law. Amend the law. Update the law.
Exactly. I was like,
and keep going.
Keep it going. I was like, we could have much better laws in this country if we had the idea of improving the law so it actually worked the way you say you want it to work. But I'm not always convinced that they do. Yeah. So that's another problem.
Our last topic. Oh, did you have somebody?
Yeah, I had a Chris Smith again. Old Dems need to step aside and let progressive Dems take over. Totally agree.
Yeah.
I have. What's
Pa Kofi Obing. We sorry if we messed up your name.
Sorry about
Kofi,
that.
we got you.
I don't want to slaughter it because I've been pronouncing everything wrong today. I'm just really off.
But we got you.
And it's like they say that they agree. They can't be soft. They got to do the will of the people. That's true. And we need a little bit more force of we're all going to get along. Like, sometimes we're not. And I'm not saying I want a lockdown, but I want the party that's been in control for the last couple of years now, which is Republicans,
has pushed a certain tone and a certain atmosphere.
But did you check that? Did you check
negative aggression?
Talking about he might have been a little too much with his tone.
Oh yeah.
And now
that's another result. That's because he was scared right before the vote. He was like, man, I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Afterwards, after our blue wave happened, the House flipped. He's like, well, maybe my tone. I say again, people vote. It's important. It works. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it does work.
And because you got closer to you, the more important the vote is.
Doesn't respond to any criticism. He never backs down. Now he's talking about maybe his tone was a little too harsh. Maybe he needs to work on that. That's what you're getting from the orange orangutan. You know? Yeah. And he doesn't, usually he doesn't respond to any of this. He'll just keep going gung-ho. But I said, it matters, and we need to build upon this. This to me is not, this is not a wash. It's not a tie. I felt like we really were crushing it in a realistic way.
And we showed that. We showed a lot of places that were usually just given that it would be like Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a good example up against Beto. Ted Cruz won, but that wasn't a landslide.
It wasn't.
It was not a landslide.
It let Ted Cruz know that next time he might not make it.
Or maybe you need to actually do something instead of just living in Washington or whatever, or going to Washington.
You know what? It's more with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz he says a lot of foul things. Yeah. He's nobody's friend that doesn't look like him. Like
also the fact that he has Ted Cruz essentially does the like sort of like I'm one of you, but we know good and well your name ain't Ted. Mm-hmm. Your name is his real name is like Rafael Cruz or something like that. It ain't Ted. But see, he trying to fake the funk. But we ain't gonna go there because we got time coming up. So I did want to touch on this. Jim Acosta this week.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Jim Acosta, he's a reporter, CNN. You've probably seen him before. He's on the thumbnail. You probably know his face. He's been on something you've seen. And he was asking some very serious and pointed questions to
hard-hitting questions, hard-hitting journalism.
And that's one thing that I think we have gotten out of this, I guess this administration is the tightening up of a lot of media outlets, because the sad thing is to a certain degree, Trump was correct. For a while, news outlets were running rumor as fact for a long time. And they just be like, oh, well, we don't have the information yet, but let's run it. We got to get the story out. So we'll fill in the details later.
I think and when there's a line to be crossed to that there were certain ones that never did that.
Yeah, true.
You have, this was floating around when that first went down, floating around Facebook, Twitter, even I even saw it on Instagram where it had like these tiers. And what I think has happened, and I think, you know, what Trump was referring to, and what I think a lot of just general public now, is that the internet came, and it gave, and we always talk about how it gives a voice to all these different people, and it allowed people to build up their own outlets. Yes. And then without any actual training of journalists, because journalism is a profession. Yeah, it's a do it. And so now you
just
have
like anything else, you have to learn
of people who are considered journalists, because not everybody who says they are is. And there's differences between someone who is a journalist and they're a reporter. They're an investigative reporter. Yeah. They talk about the weather. They talk about travel. There's different types of reporters, but at the end of the day, they used to all have the rules of the engagement.
Yeah, or a certain level
of certain level of understanding. And now because of the internet, you have a lot of that. So a lot of times you're talking about people who are not to that standard. 9 times out of 10, they have not been traditionally trained to be journalists. No. They don't have any professional training, and we're really telling their opinion as fact.
And I'll say this, I'll say this: you don't need to be professionally trained. You don't. You can learn a lot of things on your own. But I think the problem here is they're not even trying to learn.
Right.
They're just like, turn on the camera and let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
And that's when you get in this weird space.
There's a lot of people who are commentators who are now being seen as journalists, and again, their opinion is fact.
Like this, guys, what we're doing, Megyn Kelly.
And what we do, this is not actually, this is a lot of our opinions. This is
commentary on the news.
Right.
If we were to do the news, it would be like, this happened, this happened, this happened. Good night, San Diego.
Right, exactly. And that's the difference. And a lot of people are confusing commentary with actual factual. We want to encourage discourse. Yeah. So that's why we started doing
and we want to, encourage.
Have conversation.
Have a conversation, a real conversation. Not a conversation from, and this is no diss, because CNN, Fox, MSNBC, they got to make their money. But conversation from people that are actually affected by this. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of cases, in many cases, the folks that you see arguing and talking heads on, say, MSNBC or whatever, they're not truly affected by this stuff anyway, because their money insulates them from the day-to-day rigmarole of the janitor, the bus driver.
There's a very few people that this doesn't affect.
Well, I know.
Even within a news organization, there's tiers to it. There's the person on television who's making close to
I'm talking about just the people on TV. Not the newsroom folks that's making like $5.75.
Exactly. I was like, there's a lot of people that's the biggest thing about like the misunderstanding about journalists, that people, like, if you see people, I write in this big, I write in LA Times, or I write in the news, or I write in the Post, or I write. Those people don't make a ton of money. They going to the same places that you are, and like there's a few people.
They're making their money from like speaking engagements.
Exactly. If they're making that all, so there's a lot of people who are doing great work as journalists, and I think what we're confusing is the few.
Yeah, the pundits or commentators.
That's a switch over in culture, and ultimately, who controls this? We're still a democracy. If you responded to news the way you responded to someone who was giving commentary, there would be more news on television. So it's a supply and demand issue. Yeah. Where if you're upset about what's on television, you might want to sit down and say, "What am I watching on television?"
And I remember watching some documentary a while back where they talked about when news first changed, because news used to be a loss leader. It's like, news is boring, but I mean, people need to be informed.
Right.
So news didn't make money.
Right.
Someone came along, I can't remember. Someone's like, news can make money if we shoot it like this, if we have some people come in and talk, maybe have conflicting opinions, and then we could sell more ad space, make it a little flashier, and then that's when we got the seedlings of what we have now,
right?
Which is like 18 people on the screen yelling at each other,
right? Right. So I was like, we got. I feel like
cool graphics floating around,
exactly. Public. And actually, Fox was a huge pioneer of that when they came into there. I don't think a lot of people were like, man. I saw a documentary about Fox that shaded it to death.
Fox is rough.
From the very beginning, they had a very strong ideology they wanted to peddle.
Yeah.
And so they were one of the first early ones to do the flashiness and the alerts, and they had all these things to get you all revved up. And they have great turnout with viewers. Their viewership has always been strong and solid, not because they're informing people, but also I think they kind of tell people
because it's a show, and it's
they're affirming what you already felt was the way the world was, and that's not what news should be doing. But everybody's kind of got a little bit that now that they're always doing commentary on the
instead
news
of actual
and just reporting. And you have people who report it. Like if you go on the news at 11. They're just gonna give you news.
Yeah, this is gonna give you news.
They're just gonna give you news.
but back to Jim Acosta. Mm-hmm. He's hitting them hard with some questions. He's killing it. He's throwing these questions that are serious, very pointed, and President, he don't like that. Oh no, he ain't trying to hear that. So they basically like, Jim, your time up. We ain't answering none of these questions. Get out of our face. And they have an intern come to try to take the microphone. Well, when she tries to take the microphone, she like kind of reaches across him, and they end up essentially bumping each other. And his security, was it security clearance or his press clearance? One of those, basically what lets him get into the press room for to talk to the president or ask the president questions. I don't know if they call it press security or security clearance. He lost that. And the reason they say he lost it is because he either attacked or assaulted or handled their intern.
Yeah, the spin was strong.
Yeah, the spin was super strong.
The video, I was like,
because like when I heard it, I was like, Jim Acosta hit somebody? Dang, that's wild. Because this, with all this Me Too stuff, this stuff, you'd be like, yo, man, I never thought he'd do something. I guess he's crazy. And then, so I'm like, man, Jim Acosta hit somebody? That's crazy. And then when I saw the video, I was like, dude, he did not. He even said, pardon me, ma'am.
Right.
Like he said, he's holding the mic and she reaches across his left to grab it, so it like kind of like bumps each other. So they essentially bumped each other while she was trying to grab the mic. Nothing. It's not. It's a non-story, but they made it a story.
Talking about the White House didn't alter the video of Jim, because we're gonna believe.
Okay, we'll say this: the White House didn't alter it, but the White House shared it.
No, but it's Conway.
The White House supported it.
Wait.
The White House.
But it's Conway. She has Con in her name, people. This point,
Kellyanne Conway is the story flipper, son.
Exactly.
She be flipping them joints.
Sending her in to assure me that no funny business has occurred is like, really?
Yo, the funny thing is they act like the original video isn't there. No, I'll take it a step further. They act like the original video isn't there and that the room wasn't packed with people. It wasn't like it was just Jim Acosta, the president, and the intern. So nobody, there were people there, at the time, looking at his arm, at his hand. They're like, he didn't hit. When did he hit somebody? And so, once again, this is a move to subjugate and silence and suppress the press. Now, I have not always been happy with all the press. Even the lane I'm in, where it's more entertainment based. Oh, entertainment be running rumor as fact. Hardcore. But if you don't the entertainment press,
entertainment.
I know, but I'm just saying I've never been a fan of either side of not always, what I'm saying. Sometimes CNN be like, dude, y'all been showing this chase for how long? There's other real stuff we can talk about. We just looking at a car Like, come on, man. Or, so the stuff that they're showing it just because they know it's sensational, and it's like we could move on and come back to this later. But that's the corniness of the news. But I still think the news should be fair, it should be free, it should be available to everybody, and everybody should be able to have a seat at the table to ask real questions, not fluff questions, to the leadership, whether the leadership in your city, in your town, in your incorporated city, in your state, in your region, wherever it is. Because if you don't have people asking these questions, if you do suppress these people, if you do start control what they can and can't say, then we get closer to the news that they have in, say, Iran, or the news that they have, say, in China. Or you get back to what America was trying to get rid of in the first place, which was how it was in old England, where nobody could ask no questions, nobody could report nothing. Their joint came straight from the state, what they wanted you to hear. So this is a bigger deal. What I mean, it came straight from the state, or I guess straight from the monarchy. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the problem that we get into with stuff like this. Because we already know that our president, he's definitely down with dictators. So anyway, no, I ain't even reading Max stuff because I know it's probably corny. But yeah, this is a bigger deal than I think we all think it is.
Intern was like the Sandman from Apollo. After night.
Yo, she did. She tried to grab that joint hard though. She was like, and yo, Jim was like, "Oh, pardon me, ma'am. Excuse me." Because they made, like, when I heard it, I thought, the way it came out, I thought Jim was like, "Bam," and like chopped her. I was like, "Give me that mic." And then when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, nothing happened." It was like nothing happened. It's just, she reached for it and they bumped each other. The end. It's like this,
but it's all right. Jim got it because I read something online that says that Trump is going to Europe and he's like doing his presidential duties there. And guess who CNN decided to send to cover that? I thought that was
because
awesome.
He's not able to like control.
He can't control who's on the press list in Europe. So
yeah,
I was trying to find it again.
That's funny.
That's funny because if it's true, it's like hella funny. I was like, yeah, there you go. I'd be here for that.
That is funny. Yeah. So Max, I ain't even.
Yeah, because his Twitter says he's in Paris right now, I think. So I think he is there.
Yeah, he gonna do that. And Max, you tripping. You tripping before we even go there. But on the last thing, I wanted to talk about the softness and the social divide that we have when it comes to protesting, when it comes to speaking out, stuff like that. Recently, Tucker Carlson, who is also on the thumbnail, people have found out where he lives, and people have started protesting in front of his home. Recently, well, he's always made statements that he's very Fox Newsian, right? Yeah, I made that.
I was like, okay.
Very Fox Newsian. And people are tired. And they have started, protesting at his house. And, yelling and like, if you, as long as you do this, we won't let you sleep, stuff like that. And like, we're going to keep fighting, that kind of thing. And you have a lot of people coming out saying that, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't go to people's homes. This is too far. And I would agree, except this is what you get when people feel marginalized for so long, when people feel attacked for so long. This is what's going to happen. This is why we need to get rid of these polarizing views, because people are starting to say, I don't feel like I have any power, but at least I know where you live, so I can make sure you don't sleep, or I can stop you in your elevator and yell in your face, or I can at least do that because I don't have any power. and you're controlling my life.
I understand the frustration will at least want to do that. But I also feel like this is the easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It is much harder to learn your system, learn your history, and understand how you can more effectively do create a fence. If you want to go on the fence and you really want to push back, I don't want to check anybody when they're doing it, but I'm just going to say it. I was like, I don't want you breaking the laws because
it doesn't.
I feel like we're sympathetic because they sound like they're on the same side of us, but flip this around and somebody's like, well, I don't, just like people are harassing people trying to go out and vote because they don't feel like you should be. They know who, because you're black. I know who you're voting for, and I don't want you to do that.
That's why I say this is where we're at, because we have the polarizing views are controlling our nation.
Right.
So we don't have all the middle people. They have no power.
Like they have to think, and I was like, sometimes I feel like people get lost in their feelings. Like I feel like when there's this like, I don't want to vote, I don't want to participate. My eyes glaze over when you're trying to explain things to me about it. There's steps to this, and if you're not doing that, because I'm here for you having multiple tools and how you approach this. That's why I never to down somebody who's like talking about, well, we're going to protest, we're going to organize, we're going to make this new organization do this. I'm like, do that. We're going to read to the children, do that. But also like, hey, you need to do this vote thing because that makes all that stuff more effective.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And that's why I always have to push back. I feel like I have evidence. I have many examples that are beyond anecdotal to say this process helps this process. Yes. It may not flip everything over. It may not go to the extent, but we can build upon this while doing all these other things. But I think you breaking laws, and I'm like, and this is different from civil disobedience, where you're literally harassing somebody. And what if they choose to defend themselves? Then what? Yeah. Then it becomes this like snowball. So I don't know about that one. I was like, I'm not defending it. What I'm saying is I'm explaining how it happened. Yeah, definitely people are frustrated. They're like going to it and like at certain points.
Because I mean, look at even on the other side, those Trump rallies. It's a whole bunch of people that honestly believe that they're being replaced. Unfortunately,
and that's to me okay. This is the part that I feel like we can lean in here on this show and just get to the reality of.
I don't see it.
I personally, I said this. I think that's also part of the problem. Is again, people aren't really willing to confront the reality. Yeah, because that's not comfortable. So they make up this delusional thing. So it's like it's the same thing where you're not taking the initial steps. Yeah. Before you run out and do something really brash. And I'm like, same thing. It's like they're not gripping with facts. They're talking about how they feel. Yeah. The people who are getting in your face about being disillusioned, they're telling you how they feel. Yeah. They haven't explored all their options. This has popped in their head. Yeah. It's easy to do. It's so much easier to do than all the other ways to approach this. It just is. Yeah.
I'd say this. I don't mind. I'm actually not super against standing out someone's house yelling and screaming. But I'll say this. Tucker Carlson isn't the guy. Right. Tucker Carlson don't write no laws. Mm-hmm. Tucker Carlson don't control. Well, let me take that back, because Tucker Carlson is definitely a part of a social media or a social construct that comes from Fox News. So his platform does give him power, but he does not create policy. He does not. He definitely has his power. He has power.
But he has influence over how this message. He's a messenger. Yeah. So he and every messenger has their bias. Yeah. Including us. Like everybody's got their bias. Some people aim not to be biased. I really desire to be fair with my information. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, off the record, take off my gloves. Okay, I'm going to be having bias right now. And stuff like that, tell you what it is. But that goes to show you, like, everybody, even when they desire to be fair, there's still a filter that when they're delivering this information, it's going to go through. And this guy is no different. He even says he's an American commentator. commentator. Yeah. He's giving you what he thinks, people. Yeah. Don't confuse it with facts, because he's not. Because I think Max said something about don't kill the messenger. Well, he is a messenger, but he may not, depending on the person, they may deal with more or less facts than the next person.
And he becomes more of an influencer due to his platform.
Right.
And you get in this weird space where, yes, he does essentially sort of control the message a little more, but I do think we need to direct that in a different area.
Right.
I don't think Tucker Carlson's the guy. I don't really care about Tucker Carlson, but I don't think he's the guy to do this to.
Right.
Now we need to be showing up at the doors of like the senators, governors,
actually elect
people that
there's such a stronger way to get
because they're elected. They work They work for you.
There's other options that are much more effective than you risking getting arrested. Because
you about to get arrested.
He's not the guy that's going to change any of the policies. I get that by him being conservative, I can only imagine the things he might say that would get people really riled up.
Yes.
Because he might be speaking like, I don't really watch this guy. I'm familiar.
I've seen him a couple times.
I don't watch him.
He's your standard Fox fan.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that means like 9 times out of 10 they got shit wrong and they're spinning shit. And you're like, dude, really? How can you report this way? And they'll go ahead because they're about commentary. Nobody's on here a reporter. They don't even use the word journalist on Fox because they ain't about that life.
Man, it's cold.
And I was like, not about that life. You an opinion here. What's
we just gonna say what we think. Is there a news show on Fox? I don't think so. I think it's all
talking heads.
Yeah, I think it's all kind of commentary.
They have Fox News itself. They have things like
like the local channels.
Yeah,
but the national Fox News
are not the same either.
Yeah, they're not the same. The local affiliate isn't the same.
Yeah, the local affiliates. I'm throwing no shade
like the national
Fox.
Because like the national news, I don't think they have like a news show, like a Tom Brokaw type. Like, this is just the news.
I promise you, if you threaten to not watch his show, and you could get other people not to watch his show, or you could get their advertisers to say, "Hey, it's gotten too hot. Yeah. We don't need that." That works 10 times. Think about all the people who's like gotten lifted off of television. There's been a lot going down with people like being asked to exit, or being like taken off their shows, or being fired. And not one of those people were being harassed at home.
Nope.
None of them. I say that's another thing about that was getting me about like sometimes about like Americans and their mentality. Like they arrive at this decision that does not work.
We're gonna come to your house.
We're gonna come to your house, and then you don't stop to think and compare it to similar situations where they've had success. And why is it where like going back to even like, somebody was like, voter ID everywhere will cure this problem. What's happening like in Georgia,
not particularly
in Florida. I said no, because we have states that don't require you to have your ID.
Yeah,
and they don't have issues with fraud. There's no evidence of fraud. They don't take forever to count their votes. They don't have to do.
And when they really studied voter fraud after,
they keep
it was
concluding
that they were like it happens 0.00001% of the
like
time.
Voter fraud thing is complete like nonsense. Yeah. There are real voter oppression. They definitely can show you evidence of that, but the voter fraud not really. And my thing is that you have other states in this country that have their elections.
Yep.
They're able to do elections. They're not saying, well, you got to give us 3 forms of identification. They're actually more lax than you are. Yeah. And they don't have the problems you do. So why would you continue to go even further that way?
I came in, name, license, I'm out.
Exactly. I was like, I didn't have to use my license because I already have my and stuff like that. So I just showed them that. So if you get your voter information thing, you can take that to your polling place and vote. So that's how it is. Like, and we don't have this crazy recount, these crazy questions about legitimacy in our election polls, because while I'm not saying California is free of voter suppression, there's actually some stuff that about purging the rolls with voters and stuff like that. They were just doing it a little quieter than other states.
Yeah.
We got. So that means California need to like check out what's going on in our own state. However, things got nipped in the bud though. We was like, hey, what you doing?
What you doing over there?
What you doing over there?
What you doing with them votes?
When our elections went down, you're one, they're not as close.
Yep.
To get counted, and you don't have anybody talking about I need a recount. This was happening. But again, we don't even use our IDs to vote, and we don't got nearly as many problems as Ohio, Georgia, Florida have, and they want to be super strict about how they vote. So that's my thing.
Vote.
Look at people who are having success and try to repeat what they're doing. So if you didn't like this Tucker guy, why not go the route that everyone who's been successful about getting it out? I feel like this was just this person being angry and taking it on a very personal level. Yeah. And I don't think that's the give. We shouldn't be repeating that because I don't think they're coming from that. I want to change something. It's like, no, you said something. I take it very personally. I'm very angry. I don't even think I want to give this person like a grand scheme. There's no grand scheme at work.
And my thing is like, I understand the anger and the frustration. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I think we can direct it a little bit better. Going to Tucker Carlson, he's a guy. If he's gone, they'll hire another guy. Yeah. He's your average Fox News. And if you're gonna do anything, go to the head of Fox News. Like Tucker Carlson just is whatever. Mm-hmm. Now at the same time, him acting all victim like, I'm just like,
yeah, you need to right.
All the stuff you say, you know somebody gonna get mad, so you can cut that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Somebody gonna come for you, so just be ready. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know the life you live in, so don't be surprised. Right. Like if you who cares? You know, I mean, the places these kids are staying in, they're not that bad. You know, it's like summer camp over there.
Oh my God.
When you say that stuff, expect people to be angry. You know what I'm saying?
Own your shit and
so
keep it stepping,
but don't be coming out with like, how can I leave my kids at home?
The tiniest violin. Yeah. Anyway, I was like I don't think they should be doing that, but at the same time,
it's like don't be hopping on the victim joint.
Like the victim anyway. But anyway, it's been real.
It's been really real. We gotta get out of here.
I know this has been heavy. Yes. You know, sometimes the episodes be like that. You know, that's what's going on in the world. Like there wasn't even that much going on. I mean, as far as celebrities are going on. We're in LA, and the biggest thing going on with celebrities right now is the fact that some of them are losing their houses due to the Woodley fire, I think it's being called. So we have a fire going on, if you didn't know.
Or are the other two still going on or no?
Well, those are further north.
Because I know there's one in Malibu, right? Or Palisades or something?
No, that's the Woodley fire.
Oh, okay.
It's all connected.
Okay. Okay. So I thought those were separate.
It's going from Malibu all the way into Calabasas and Simi Valley. And that's because
I thought they were two separate.
To 101.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same fire. Wow. And that's where a lot of our resident celebrities live. And so it's terrible. And they're also losing things like Topanga Canyon, for those who are not here, I've driven through it a few times, and they got all kinds of cool stuff up there, and like little village looking stuff. They have old Western states, a set for Westworld burned down, unfortunately. Wow. They lost one for older Westerns. Unfortunately, it's taking out a lot of stuff. And then we got our winds right now. And everybody knows California doesn't rain in California like that. So
Raphael Sadiq told you.
Exactly.
People lying.
We wish there was some rain to help us out with it, but right now the winds have died down.
We need a little bit, a little trickle.
Hopefully they can get it under control. And then this is not our only fire in the state. We also have one that's going on above, close to San Francisco. So it's a challenge.
It's crazy.
Right.
But guys, thank you for checking us out. All y'all going to hit that thumbs up. If you hit that thumbs down, you best believe I'm going to be sending the kid with a basketball to your house. So, to my left, I have Marqueeda LaStar.
Hey, what's up? Y'all can find me anywhere on the interwebs at LaStar.net.
You can find me, NERDSoul, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.com/NERDSoul. So, it's been fun. It's been real. To Lala Papa, to Kofi, to even Max Evans, to Little Miss Chocolate, to Chris Smith, everybody, all y'all. If Alan Lewis in there, YouTube, Peace Solo, big shout out to Thought Crimes, all that good stuff. Till next time, stay real and just stay black. Peace.